Lily Turner, at 28, spends her days among the dusty shelves of Seattle's Central Library, a city where the gray sky is almost a constant. Despite the urban environment and the often gloomy weather, Lily finds her refuge in the yellowed pages of fantasy novels. She gets lost in tales of distant kingdoms, dragons, and magic, providing a vivid contrast to the monotony of her daily life. Each book is a gateway to a world where she can be the fearless heroine of her own epic adventures, far from her mundane and predictable reality. Across town, her mother, Eleanor, works as a real estate broker known for her practical and straightforward approach in business. Eleanor is a woman of action, always dressed in elegant suits and ready to close the next big deal. For her, life is a series of clear goals and objectives, and she expects the same pragmatism from her daughter. In her view, Lily needs more than fantastic stories to secure her future. She needs stability and security, concepts that Eleanor values above all else. And this is where Ethan Marshall comes into play. At 32, Ethan is the perfect example of the good catch Eleanor envisions for her daughter. A promising accountant at a respected firm, Ethan represents everything Eleanor wants for Lily: a stable man, with a solid career and a secured financial future. It doesn't matter that Lily has never shown romantic interest in Ethan, or that their conversations rarely go beyond comments about the weather and finances. For Eleanor, marriage is a strategic partnership, and Ethan is the ideal partner. Thus, while Lily dreams of magical worlds and epic adventures, Eleanor plans a future for her daughter anchored in reality, hoping that Lily will eventually abandon her fantasy books to face the world with the same pragmatic seriousness that she herself has always adopted. Eleanor never missed an opportunity to talk to Lily about the importance of making safe and predictable choices for the future. At Sunday dinners, while buttering her bread, she would mention how Ethan, with his stable accounting career and his downtown apartment, was the type of man who could offer Lily the life she deserved. Lily, on the other hand, would smile awkwardly, her thoughts drifting away to enchanted lands and adventures that existed only in her imagination. Ethan, aware of Eleanor's expectations and wanting to please both mother and daughter, also did his part. He tried to engage Lily in conversations about long-term plans, such as investments and insurance, but he noticed that her eyes would drift away, distant, as if she were in another place, perhaps in an exciting chapter of one of her favorite books. Then, one Saturday morning, Ethan decided it was time to act. He took Lily to Pike Place Market, a vibrant and lively place, thinking that the bustling, colorful setting might be the perfect backdrop for a new chapter in their lives. Walking among the stalls of fresh flowers and colorful fruits, Ethan, a bit nervous, realized it was now or never. When they reached the famous gum wall, a spot that always attracted the curious and tourists, he knelt down, pulled out a small box from his pocket, and popped the big question. Lily, completely taken by surprise, was paralyzed for a moment. The market around her seemed to spin in slow motion, the sounds of conversations and laughter blending into a sonic blur. She looked at Ethan, realizing how serious and hopeful he was. In that instant, her mother's expectations and Ethan's desire to cement his place in her life crystallized, and she found herself at a crossroads between the life everyone expected her to choose and the dreams she still wanted to live. After the wedding, Lily's life didn't turn into the fairy tale she secretly hoped might emerge from the ashes of her reluctances. Instead, the days became a monotonous repetition of routines and silences. Ethan, always so meticulous with his work, seemed to forget that marriage also needed his effort and dedication. He left early, came back late, and often brought work home, leaving Lily to contemplate the silent walls of their apartment that seemed to close in on her. Lily often dined alone, accompanied only by the characters from the books she read. When Ethan was home, his body was present, but his mind was elsewhere, perhaps on account balances or the next goals of his career. The couch between them seemed to grow larger, a symbol of the emotional chasm forming. In an effort to salvage some vestige of connection, Lily planned a special evening. She prepared Ethan's favorite dinner, dressed in her best dress, and even lit candles to create a cozy atmosphere. However, when Ethan arrived, his face barely registered the scene before him. He muttered a distant thanks and spent most of the dinner checking messages on his cell phone, his responses to Lily's attempts at conversation limited to monosyllables. Ethan's coldness was not out of malice, but negligence, a lack of awareness about what was unraveling right before his eyes. Lily, feeling increasingly invisible, began to question her own expectations for the marriage and her own identity. The woman who dreamed of adventures in fantastical worlds now found herself trapped in a cycle of isolation and disregard, a reality that weighed on her shoulders more than the gray Seattle sky ever could. That night, which was supposed to reignite the spark between them, instead exposed even more of Ethan's emotional distance, and Lily went to bed with the feeling that she was alone even when accompanied, a feeling that was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. On a night that promised to be like any other, Lily decided to do something different to surprise Ethan. He had mentioned a happy hour with coworkers, and Lily thought it would be fun to show up unexpectedly and maybe try to reintroduce some of the spontaneity their marriage had lost. With a shy smile and a bouquet of flowers in hand as a peace offering, she walked to the bar where he said he would be. Upon arrival, she peeked inside, looking for Ethan. That's when her heart stopped. There was Ethan, but not surrounded by coworkers as expected. Instead, he was sitting intimately next to Jessica, Lily's best friend. The scene before her eyes seemed to freeze and burn at the same time, Ethan and Jessica laughing together, and then, to Lily's horror, he leaned in to kiss her with a familiarity that shattered any illusion. The shock was immediate and piercing, a dagger of betrayal and disbelief driven deep into her heart. Without thinking, Lily pushed through the door and ran out of the bar, the flowers dropped and forgotten on the ground. Her mind was a whirlwind, each beat of her heart a cry of pain. She ran blindly, tears blurring her vision, the streets of Seattle a blur around her. In her desperate escape, Lily barely noticed the traffic signs or the honking cars. Her only reality was the excruciating pain and the need to escape from that moment, from that truth. At a busy intersection, she stumbled on the curb. Before she could regain her balance, a car, unable to stop in time, hit her hard, throwing her to the ground. The impact was brutal, and everything turned dark and silent for Lily. The last thing she felt before losing consciousness was the cold of the asphalt against her skin and the distant sound of approaching sirens. A somber symphony to the end of a day that began with hope and ended in disaster. After the tragic accident, Lily woke up in a darkened world. The diagnosis was devastating: temporary loss of vision due to head trauma. The colors, shapes, and faces that once filled her day-to-day life were replaced by impenetrable darkness, turning every simple task into a colossal challenge. For Lily, who had always found refuge in the vivid pages of books, this new world of shadows was a labyrinth of uncertainties and fears. As Lily struggled to adapt to her new reality, Ethan found himself lost, unable to handle the gravity of the situation. The weight of the commitment that marriage required became more palpable, and his discomfort grew rapidly. The pressure of caring for a now-dependent wife weighed on him, a responsibility he did not feel ready to assume. The situation was much more than he had expected to face, and his inability to connect emotionally with Lily became even more evident. The following weeks were marked by medical visits, adaptations in the apartment to accommodate Lily's new condition, and many tense and charged conversations. On a gloomy afternoon, similar to the Seattle sky that so reflected Lily's life, Ethan sat beside her and spoke the words that would end their marriage. He said he couldn't handle the situation and that it would be best for both of them to go their separate ways. He asked for a divorce with a mix of guilt and relief, exacerbating the already deep wounds in Lily's heart. The loneliness that followed for Lily was deeper than the darkness her eyes faced. Feeling betrayed not just once, but twice by the man who promised to be by her side in good times and bad, she had to face not only the reconstruction of her physical independence but also her emotional one. Ethan's abandonment not only confirmed the pain of betrayal but also left Lily in an abyss of isolation, from where she would need to find the strength to emerge alone. During the process of adapting to her new reality of darkness, Lily was introduced to Alice Kim, an occupational therapist whose energy and optimism were almost palpable. Alice had a smile that could be felt even without being seen and a way of speaking that conveyed confidence and hope. From the beginning, she brought a breath of fresh air to Lily's often gloomy days. Alice started by working with Lily on basic activities, teaching her to navigate the apartment without the aid of sight, to identify objects by touch, and to use assistive technologies that facilitated daily life. But Alice quickly realized that Lily needed more than just physical adaptation. She needed something that touched her soul. Knowing Lily's love for literature, Alice suggested that she channel her emotions and experiences through writing. Why not turn this storm into a story? Alice suggested in one of their sessions. Lily initially hesitated, doubting her ability to write without being able to see, but Alice equipped her with voice recognition software and other tools that facilitated the writing process for the visually impaired. Encouraged by Alice, Lily began to pour her emotions, fears, and dreams onto digital paper. Writing became her therapy, a way to explore the deepest corners of her mind and heart. Each word she dictated was a part of herself that still pulsed with life, with desires, and with the need for expression. Alice not only helped Lily find a new form of freedom through writing but also helped her reconnect with her forgotten passion. The sessions between the two became less about physical recovery and more about Lily's emotional and creative rebirth. Over time, Lily's writing began to take the form of stories that reflected not only her personal journey but also her growth as an independent woman. Alice, more than a therapist, became a mentor and a crucial friend in this transformative journey. Lily found in writing a powerful way to confront her deepest feelings and transform them into something tangible. Sitting in front of the computer, she spoke to the voice recognition software that captured each word, each pause, each sigh. As the stories flowed from her mind to the screen, she felt a kind of release, as if each sentence helped alleviate the weight of her pain and loneliness. Lily's early stories were introspective, exploring themes of loss, betrayal, and the search for meaning amidst adversity. She wrote about characters who, despite facing great challenges, found strength and hope in unexpected places. Her writing was raw and honest, infused with emotions that resonated with those who found her words. As she shared some of her writings on blogs and online literary forums, Lily began to receive feedback from readers who were touched by her sincerity and depth. Many identified with the struggles of her characters and found comfort in their resolutions, which encouraged Lily to continue. The encouraging comments turned into positive reviews, and soon she was approached by a small publisher who saw potential in her unique voice. Writing, which began as a means for Lily to cope with her own altered reality, became a channel to express not just her frustrations but also her dreams and hopes. She began to incorporate elements of fantasy and adventure, blending her personal experiences with imaginary worlds where her protagonists overcame obstacles with courage and inventiveness. Over time, the practice of writing became a therapeutic routine. Lily spent hours immersed in her created worlds, emerging from each writing session a little lighter and a little stronger. Through her words, she rediscovered her independence and rebuilt her identity, not as the woman who had lost so much, but as a writer who had much to offer. With each story she completed, Lily felt more confident and determined, ready to face the world, even if she could not see it. Fully recovered, Lily, now a rising writer, was invited to participate in a writers' conference in a nearby major city. Anxiety and anticipation mingled in her stomach as she prepared her presentation, eager to share her journey and her works with an audience that valued literature as much as she did. It was in this vibrant setting of ideas and creativity that Lily met Oliver Grant. Oliver, a businessman from Chicago with a deep interest in cultural projects, was at the conference to explore how literature could be used to drive social initiatives. He approached Lily after one of the sessions where she spoke about the therapeutic power of writing, impressed with her eloquence and the depth of her perspective. Their initial conversation flowed with surprising ease. They discovered that both had stories of personal challenges that led them to seek refuge and expression through art. Oliver shared his own experience with the early loss of his parents and how it propelled him to support young artists and writers. Lily, in turn, spoke about her accident and how writing helped her rediscover her identity and strength. As the conference continued, they found themselves meeting during breaks, lunches, and panels, each encounter deepening their connection. Oliver proved to be not only an attentive listener but someone who truly understood Lily's passion for writing as a tool for change. They discussed projects and ideas, dreaming together of ways to collaborate to positively impact communities through art. The chemistry between them was palpable, a mix of mutual admiration, shared interests, and a synchronicity that is rarely found. The relationship blossomed naturally, and soon they were exploring the possibility of working together on a book project that would combine inspiring narratives with concrete social actions. Lily and Oliver quickly realized that their partnership had the potential to go beyond a personal romance. They had a unique chance to make a difference together. Inspired by their own struggles and how art helped them heal, they decided to collaborate on projects that could extend the same opportunity for transformation to others. First, they launched a series of creative writing workshops for youth in underserved communities, places where libraries are scarce and life stories are often marked by challenges. Oliver used his management experience to organize the events and secure funding, while Lily led the sessions, teaching the young participants to express their emotions and experiences through words. It was thrilling to see how the participants, initially hesitant, began to open up, finding relief and understanding as they put their experiences on paper. Beyond the workshops, they developed a collaborative book project, inviting people who had overcome significant adversities to share their stories. The goal was to compile these narratives into a collection that would not only inspire readers around the world with examples of resilience and hope but also raise funds to support literacy and art programs. This joint effort further strengthened the bond between Lily and Oliver. They spent hours discussing every detail of the projects, from selecting the stories to strategizing on how to maximize the social impact of the book. Work meetings often extended into dinners where they shared future dreams and planned new initiatives. The work not only brought them closer together but also filled them with a renewed purpose. They saw themselves not just as survivors of their personal stories but as catalysts for change, capable of using their skills and passions to illuminate the darkest corners of human experience. Lily's literary journey took a decisive turn when, with Oliver's encouragement and support, she completed her first novel. Oliver not only encouraged her during the writing process but also used his business experience to help in the search for publishers. After several attempts and rejections, they finally found a publisher willing to bet on Lily's story, a novel that wove elements of personal overcoming with enchanting fiction. The book launch was an exciting event. Oliver organized a signing night at a well-known local bookstore where friends, family, and even onlookers gathered to see the new author in town. Lily, though nervous, felt at home among the shelves filled with stories, now contributing her own. The public response was overwhelmingly positive. People were intrigued by the way she transformed her adversity into an engaging narrative, and the initial reviews highlighted the authenticity and emotional depth of her writing. As the days passed, word of mouth began to work its magic. Readers shared excerpts on social media, literary bloggers posted enthusiastic reviews, and soon Lily's book began to climb the bestseller lists. She started to be invited to speak at literary events and podcasts, where she discussed not only her book but also the power of writing as a tool for healing and transformation. The success of the book opened new doors for Lily. She was invited to participate in panels at book festivals, where her perspective as someone who transformed personal pain into art resonated deeply with an increasingly larger audience. With each appearance and interview, Lily gained not only notoriety but also growing respect within the literary community. This triumphant turn marked the beginning of a new phase in her life, where Lily was no longer seen just as a survivor, but as an influential and inspiring voice in the literary world. With Oliver by her side, she felt empowered to continue exploring and expanding her talent, ready for the next stories that were yet to be told. When Ethan heard about Lily's surprising success as a writer, a twinge of curiosity and a hint of regret struck him. He began to see photos of her at literary events and interviews on media channels, always radiant and clearly revitalized by this new phase in her life. Ethan couldn't help feeling that he might have lost something truly special. Driven by a mix of nostalgia and admiration, he decided to try to reconnect with Lily. One sunny afternoon, Ethan appeared at a book signing where Lily was present. He watched from a distance at first, impressed with how she interacted with fans and the confidence with which she spoke about her work. Mustering up courage, he approached after the crowd had dispersed, greeting her with a nervous smile. Lily, surprised to see him, maintained her composure. Ethan praised her success and, in a tone mixed with remorse and desire, suggested that perhaps they could try again, hinting that there was still room for him in her new life. However, time and experiences had given Lily a completely renewed perspective. She listened to Ethan politely, but her response was firm and clear. With quiet elegance, she explained that she had found a new path for herself, one that valued her independence and creativity above all else. Lily thanked Ethan for his role in her journey, as, in a way, the challenges she had faced with him had propelled her to rediscover herself. "I truly wish you all the best, Ethan, but what we had is over. "I'm not the same person you left, and I'm very happy with the person I've become," said Lily with serene conviction. Ethan, though disappointed, couldn't help but feel respect for Lily's clarity and maturity. He bid her farewell, leaving her surrounded by her books and her new world, a world he no longer was a part of. Lily, for her part, felt even more empowered by her decision, certain that the future she had chosen for herself was bright and entirely her own.